Hey, what's up, guys? It's Drew here. I want to do a quick video blog on specifically why I defend Donald Trump. Okay. Um, Now, this issue doesn't start with Donald Trump. It really starts with me as a person. It doesn't start with Donald Trump. It doesn't start with being a conservative or being a libertarian or any of that stuff. It starts with me as a person. Okay. In my life, honestly, I will tell you, from the time I had experienced, kindergarten to, middle school to high school, okay, I went to a school that was 99.9% predominantly Jewish, okay? And, I never had a problem. I never had a problem fitting in with people or having my own group of friends. And, I never had any issues in regards to race. I mean, have I experienced racism? Sure, but nothing major. I've never really been discriminated against by police officers. In my 32 years on this planet, I haven't really experienced that level of racism. And that's just my truth. That's my reality. That's my life. Now, when I tell this sometimes to people who are liberals and who are, Democrats, when I don't feed into their victimization mentality, because I don't have I don't have a victimization reality. So I can't give them that because that's not who I am. That's not the life I've experienced. I've never been a victim. So when I don't feed into it, they immediately, the first thing for them to do is to call me a sellout or to say that I'm not black enough, because my experience as a black man is not defined by hardships. It's not defined by racism. It's not defined by experiencing bigotry. It's not defined by drugs. It's not defined by any of the things that they stereotypically attach to being black. So by all means, in their minds, I'm not black because of that, which is absolutely just ridiculous. You know, my thing is that I support Donald Trump because he's just blindly and he's just bluntly himself. He doesn't care if you're black. He doesn't care if you're Chinese. He doesn't care if you're Indian. If you can do the job, if you're in line of character that he likes, then he likes you. Period. He doesn't care what color you are. He doesn't care where you come from. That's why I support Donald Trump. Now, some people say that, oh, he's a supremacist, he's a Nazi, he's a racist. They're saying that because he doesn't bow down, or he doesn't like bend over for people. You know what I'm saying? But honestly, as a person who's black, I don't expect people to bend over backwards for me because of my skin color. Like I've never expected that. And I don't understand people who do either. So I'm not saying that in high stress areas like in if you go to the Bronx, I'm sure, in the Bronx, the relationship between black people and police is high stress because in general it's a high stress area. That's just an example, but my whole point is this. My reality as a black man has not been what people define it to be in the media. And when I express that, I'm labeled all sorts of names by liberals. It has not been that way. I've had a great experience as a black man, and I'm still having great experiences as a black man. I don't owe it to anybody to identify with a history that's not mine. Like, for example, how can I identify with slavery when slavery is not in my history? Like, I still have my African last name. My ancestors were not enslaved. Okay, now I understand that people who look like me went through slavery, but I didn't go through slavery. My ancestors didn't go through slavery. So does it mean that I don't know about slavery and I didn't read about it? Of course I've read about it. Of course I know about it. But okay, people were marginalized and were treated badly. And actually slavery still goes on today. In many countries, many non-Western countries, slavery still goes on today. Nobody says anything about that. But my whole point is this, like, I don't submit to this mindset and this mentality of persecution. I just don't, and I never will. And anybody who sees this can say, you're a sellout, you're this, you're that. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If you say that, it doesn't matter, because why are you calling? The reason I check for the source of things. You're calling me a sellout because I'm unwilling to submit to your mentality of victimhood. Think about that. You want me to internalize and to subject myself to the same paranoia, fear, and misery that you go through. You shouldn't be telling me that I'm a sellout. You should be asking me, how are you so happy? How are you so calm? What kind of reality are you experiencing? I'd like to experience that. It's not up to me to say, how can I be miserable like you? How can I be paranoid like you? How can I be fearful like you? And I'm never going to say that. I don't care how many people call me a sellout. It's not for me to come down to that level. You should want to come up to the level where you don't feel that way, where you don't see color, where you don't feel fearful. And don't get me wrong, maybe if I grew up in Alabama or one of these other states, where, race relations are allegedly, because I haven't been there, so I have to say allegedly, where race relations are allegedly not so great and people are just intolerant of each other, maybe I would have a more developed sense of vigilance. But I didn't grow up like that. I didn't experience life like that. I'm not currently experiencing life like that. So it's not justified for me to perpetuate that. When I haven't, I know people that I grew up with that went to the same school that are black like me. Maybe they're like 1 out of the 6 or 1 out of the 7 black people in the school. I know people like that. And I see them online today and they're talking about how hard they had it. You didn't have it hard. The media is telling you that you had it hard, and you're taking their reality over the actual reality that you experience every day. That to me is insane. It's insane to me that the media has that much control over people. That you can experience in your daily experience a real life that you're living, that are the results of your choices and your lack thereof. And yet, you will tune in and you will turn on the TV and you will accept the reality that they're selling you for ratings. That to me is absolutely insane. It's insane. You see, that's why I defend Donald Trump, because Donald Trump does not live in this reality of color. Okay? He's disavowed David Duke. He's disavowed the KKK. He's disavowed Nazism. He's disavowed these things, not just today, not just yesterday, not just last week, but for over 10 years. He's done this publicly, on record. And if the people who are calling him racist really wanted to know, all they would have to do is Google and look it up. But they don't want to know. They would rather paint him a racist because it makes them feel more comfortable. Now they've got leverage, right? Even though he's not a racist and he's proven that he's not, they still would rather paint him that way, because it makes them have some kind of political pedestal or power that they think they have. But what they don't realize is that a large majority of the independents, the moderates, and people like me who voted Donald Trump in, we're woke. We're really awake. We're not just saying stay woke. We're actually really awake. We studied the history of the Federal Reserve. We studied George Soros. We know where the money comes from for Black Lives Matter and all these other groups. We know that there's a billionaire that's funding civil unrest. We understand the source of the problems. We're just waiting for you guys to catch up and not get so caught up and not get so pulled in by hatred. You see, I'm not going to be able to be sucked into this white versus black thing, because I know the source of where it's coming from. I know that there's money behind this division. And I know that divide and conquer is one of the strategies that people use in order to bring down a society. Listen, as a citizen, as a common citizen, there's 3 things that citizens have that make them powerful against their government, okay? Number 1 is unity, and that's the ability to stand together, okay? So they're dividing that, all right? And they're pushing tribalism, which is what the first thing that they break up is unity, okay? Number 2 is economic empowerment. Okay? That's number 2, economic empowerment. If you can't provide for yourself, you're dependent on the government. Okay? If you can provide for yourself, you're not so dependent on the government. The government's dependent on you. Number 3, the ability to defend yourself. Okay? Now, which party is attacking these 3 things? It's not the Republican Party. It's not Donald Trump. It's the Democrats. The Democrats attack unity by forming identity politics and pushing people into categories. So people are no longer focused on self-actualizing and chasing the American dream. They're focused on, oh, I'm a black man, I'm a white man, I'm a Chinese man, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a woman, I'm a man, I'm this. They're focused on that, things that they were born with, things that they cannot change, the differences. Then number two, economic empowerment. Democrats want you to stay on the government dole. Republicans and Trump want you to get off. So they incentivize working for they incentivize working and earning money and keeping your money. Then number three, we all know that the Democrats are the biggest pushers of gun control, and they want to remove the ability to protect yourself. These three things that grant citizens power, the Democrats want to remove. And until they change their stances on those three things and a couple of other things, I can't move left. I just can't justify it. Especially when the country is so far left already that we don't even know the difference between men and women anymore. I mean, we've just reached a point that we need some pragmatism. And that's why I like Donald Trump. Do I think he's a perfect human being? Absolutely not. Nobody is. But at the same time, I think he's what is needed right now. And I actually think that he's going to win again. Because instead of Democrats focusing on addressing the base of people that actually put Trump in, which is people who want results, instead of focusing on that, they went back to their basics, which is identity politics and division. That's not going to work because we're more skeptical of the 24/7 news cycle that you guys own. Not good. Not good. So I defend Donald Trump because it's a pragmatic thing to do. I do it because it has nothing to do with skin color. It has nothing to do with racism. It has nothing to do with that. I want this country to continue to expand in GDP. I want this country to continue to expand economically. I want this country to have strong foreign policy. I want this country to be a place where people can continue to come and self-actualize and chase their opportunities. It's the highest form of being a human being. Not simple security, not simple safety. It's the highest form that you can attain as a human being to be able to chase and live out your dreams. Other countries don't have such luxuries. Enjoy yourself here while you're in the United States. It's an experiment that's never been done before in the United States. The only other thing is what? The Roman Empire. And it wasn't as great as America. Okay? So appreciate where you are in the United States, the fact that you have opportunity. And I think honestly, as citizens, we should get behind our president. It doesn't matter if you don't like his personality or his character. He's flying the plane. And you want the plane to land safely. And that's it. And that's why I defend Donald Trump. Peace.